Today we're talking about Talbot Shaving's latest release, Champlain, coming right up. Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I'm your host John, and for today's shave we have the brand new soap from Talbot Shaving called Champlain. So I'll be sharing with you my impressions of this one, scent notes, and all that good stuff. I was able to purchase this tub early from the artisan so I can give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek, but let's look at what else we're using today before we dive into Champlain. For the razor, I'll be doing my second shave with the Henson Shaving Titanium TI-22, and for the blade this time, I've loaded a brand new Gillette Nacet to see how it goes. This was a kind of low blade feel, pretty decent efficiency, very smooth shaver in my first go with it. So I believe the Nacet has a little bit more sharpness to it, and I'm really curious to see how it works in this razor. Also, since my last shave, I was able to confirm that this is indeed the aggressive plate with the TI-22. For my brush today, we're going with this Mozingo Brushworks Skyfire, and this is loaded with a 26mm 2-band fan badger knot, which I believe I picked up from That Darn Rob, now known as Chisel and Hound. And for the splash today, while I don't have the matching splash for Champlain, I'm going with a very closely related scent called Cole's Pond by Talbot Shaving. I'll go more into that in just a little bit. If you'd like to help the channel, please like, share, and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. These are all easy ways to support and grow the channel if you're enjoying what you're watching. I'd also like to invite you all to come check out the new Lather Talk Discord server. It's a great place to chat and hang out with your fellow wet shaving enthusiasts. Alright, so I have the Proto Lather applied, and let's get into the face lather. I'm working with 4 days worth of growth that you can see right there. And let's talk about Champlain. So first, I gotta mention the connection to Cole's Pond. And what Champlain is basically a reformulation of Cole's Pond. And part of the reformulation comes because some of the wood notes that are in this scent were discontinued or not currently available. So Chad over at Talbot Shaving had to find a replacement. And just for reference, here is what the tub of Cole's Pond looks like. So I've had a chance to put these side by side, and they are very, very close. I mean, it's not really worth calling it a brand new scent, but let me describe a little bit of what Champlain's bringing to the table. So Champlain opens up with that woody note. In particular, it's a really strong blast of fir or pine. So that, in general, automatically puts me in the mindset of being in the outdoors, in a forest. And what kind of rounds out that picture is the blast of eucalyptus that follows that, which kind of gives a cold air kind of vibe. I think it accentuates the woodiness as well. It's not a strong eucalyptus smell because I know a lot of people find it kind of medicinal, but it's definitely there. And then finally, I think the last component, at least to my nose, that really pops out is this really subtle sweetness. And in looking up the original scent notes of Cole's Pond, I believe that's coming from amber, the sweetness, because on top of that, I get a little bit of almost like a salty sea air kind of vibe. So it has just a tinge of aquatic to it, but not too much. I'm still thinking it's like a fall or winter hike. So if you've tried Cole's Pond before or you have a tub, there's no denying the similarity. I think where it's different is Champlain comes much stronger out of the gate with that fir pine note. And I know some people actually really like that. Really like that note. It does kind of remind me of Christmas trees, wreaths, and whatnot. So I think a lot of people will get like, oh, it's a winter soap kind of vibe from it as well. But I don't know, that eucalyptus and that that aquatic, kind of slight aquatic vibe to it makes it, a year-round selection for me. All right, so I'm sure you noticed I sped things up a little bit. I absolutely love this soap. This is the version 3 of Talbot's shave soap base, and I've had plenty of experience with version 2. I think I've tried version 1 as well, but it's always been a pleasure to lather. I could just keep going. It's really dense, really creamy, very fun. There's no better way to put it. It's just a fun soap to lather up. So here we go in with the Henson Titanium, and let's see how it goes with the Nacet. One thing I didn't mention last time about the Henson is the kind of the interesting shape in the razor head. But that's not to say it's hard to find the right angle. It's fairly easy to find. And it's consistent. Even though it's called aggressive, I think it's a very smooth, efficient shaver. Rather, the aggressive base plate is very smooth and efficient. I'm really getting minimal blade feel, but it's taking down 4 days of beard growth with no problem. But anyway, back to the scent of Champlain. One thing that's worth mentioning about Talbot is that a small portion of each sale goes to Nature Conservancy, different state parks, and whatnot are a big, I was about to say a big deal, but it's close to the heart of the artisan behind Talbot Shaving, Chad Irish. And Chad's also located in Massachusetts, someone who I've had the chance to hang out with, and just really a great, humble guy overall. So I am more than happy to use his products, share them with you guys. I mean, on top of that, they're just quality too. So I can't forget to address that. If you own Cole's Pond already, should you pick up Champlain? I would say if you love fir needle, pine, you love that note, and kind of had always wished that there's more of that in the original Cole's Pond, then for sure go ahead and pick up Champlain. Otherwise, I think it does. It's a reformulation, so like. At the heart of it, the DNA is still the same. So, unless you're chasing after that pine, I think you're okay with Cole's Pond. But for most of you watching this, Cole's Pond was hard to get. In general, Talbot Shaving was small batches in limited drops. They'll be in multiple vendors this time around in much greater quantity. And in general, Cole's Pond, I think, was one of the most accessible, enjoyable scents from Talbot Shaving. Seeing as how closely related this is, I think this would be a great entry point to someone who's always wanted to check out one of Talbot's soaps. All right, so lathered up for pass number 2. Number 1 went down without a hitch. This razor, no problem mowing down 4 days worth of growth. So let's go for Against the Grain now. There's definitely audio feedback to this guy, but also, not super loud. Enough to hear that you're cutting the whiskers. Now, I was able to talk to Chad a little bit, and since this is a bit of a revisitation and a reformulation on an old scent, he did mention that there are other scents he'd like to revisit. Especially given the fact that availability is much greater now, and production has ramped up quite a bit since his original releases. So I'm actually super excited to hear that. one of my favorite scents that he made for a previous, I think, Northeast Wet Shavers Meetup was called Lantern Hill. And every month, every couple months or so, I'll bother him to bring it back. So that's not stopping anytime soon. If anything, I might ramp up my efforts given the fact that he's looking at bringing back other scents. Lantern Hill, by the way, is this beautiful sweet tobacco. It's been a while since I used it because I borrowed the soap, but really excellent tobacco soap, and I love me some tobacco soaps. Even with all the tobacco soaps I have now, I would still pick up a set of Lantern Hill in a heartbeat. But back to Champlain. Yeah, Champlain is a great entry point to check out Talbot if you've never checked it out before. I think most of the scents that come from Talbot are really trying to bring you to a particular location. And in this case, it's out in the woods, maybe near a mountaintop. And outdoorsy, I know that's a pretty broad category. While outdoorsy could mean kind of earthy, musky, I wouldn't say this one falls in that category. There's a freshness to it. I think that eucalyptus. All right, I do have to apologize. I'm a little scattered today, but the scent strength on this one, again, is quite strong. I would say it's about a 7.5 out of 10. So very robust, both out of the tub and even once lathered up. Also, the soap base itself, I did mention is V3. It's also, of note, quite firm. It takes quite a bit of pressure before even getting, a fingerprint, let alone an indent, into the soap. And I like that. I mean, it's a great, again, it's a great soap base. And I think a lot of artisan shave soaps have been leaning softer and softer. The fact that Chad achieved what he did with this soap, and it's still quite a firm soap, that's pretty notable. So here we go with the third and final pass. Guys, I'm finding this Henson Titanium, it does a really smooth job. I think I can go on autopilot and not worry too much about really any cuts or nicks. And when compared to the mild and medium plates I used with the aluminum version, I like this a whole lot more. I would say most people, whichever version you're trying out, if you're not a super brand new wet shaver, you should probably go for the aggressive plate because it is very enjoyable. And both the mild and medium, I didn't find actually too much difference between the two. And I've mentioned too, it was just way too mild and inefficient for my taste. So. I don't know about you guys, but I was considering doing a against the grain pass on the mustache area, but I don't think so. I've never done that pass. I always go, with the grain and then maybe like a sideways one. I did actually manage to give myself a little bit of nick here. So it's sharp. It's certainly sharp enough. All right, let's rinse up. All right, so a fantastic shave with both the Henson razor as well as Talbot Champlain. Let's finish things up with Cole's Pond. One thing I won't be able to speak to today is the partnership that Talbot has with Male Grooming. I believe that's proper pronunciation, Male Grooming, spelled M-A-O-L, a Canadian artisan who actually primarily focuses on aftershaves. Mel and Talbot have been partnered a while now, and it's really a fantastic aftershave, the base formula they have. So for those of you who like kind of those high performance, high skin food type aftershaves, that's worth mentioning that Champlain will have a male grooming produced aftershave. All right, so in closing things up, Talbot Shaving Champlain, if this sounds like something for you, it's going to be available at multiple vendors. I'll be sure to list them in the description below. Again, this is, I think, a great entry point. If you've never checked out Talbot Shaving, the performance is there with their V3 soap base. The scent, very enjoyable. To me, it's all year round, but some people definitely are going to associate this one with winter in particular. Talbot's a really good artisan that a lot of people up to recently have not been able to try, but again, it's more available in greater numbers now, and I think it would be a shame to sleep on this one. So check it out if you're at all curious. I want to thank you guys so much for taking some time out of your day and joining me for today's shave. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.